Did we hit it? We did. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Raton City Commission to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Sagata, Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley, Commissioner Schuster,
Present.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Present.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Here.
Good. It's not on here, but will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this is a special meeting, so Mr. Mestis, I'll let you give some explanation here.
Okay, the first act is really the purpose for the special meeting. This is a time-sensitive aviation grant agreement between the City of Raton and the New Mexico Department of Transportation for fuel farm safety improvements. And as you may know, there have been some issues out at the airport that we need to get resolved. But I would like to call the city engineer, Mr. Jaden Welch, forward to give us a little bit more background.
Commission. So back on October 18th, 2023, the New Mexico Environment Department made a visit out to the airport and inspected our fuel farm, and they noted two deficiencies, the lack of overfill prevention and the lack of spill prevention equipment. And on January 23rd, 2024, we received a violation letter from them giving us 30 days to address the violation, or the equipment could be red tagged. From there, we obtained 3 quotes from vendors to address the issues with the fuel farm. These are new requirements, which is why we got snagged by them this time. And a similar thing happened with RPS and their above ground storage tanks. And RPS ultimately decided to remove them. However, that is not the practical solution in this instance. We submitted the quotes to State Aviation, NMDOT, and they issued us a grant agreement to fully fund the improvements. And so we're seeking commission approval of that grant agreement.
Okay.
And that's just for the cruise fuel?
That's correct. It's for the avgas and jet fuel that they sell at the airport.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Time frame wise, they can start work on this one.
The quote. Let's see what that says. Sorry that I don't know it off the top of my head.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is something that needs to be addressed immediately, and I think that was communicated to the people that applied, correct?
Yeah, the vendors or the different firms that we received quotes for understand the time sensitivity of the matter, and my understanding is as soon as we can give them the green light, then they're in a position that they will be able to move on the project. But I can provide better figures.
The way this reads, we're approving the grant, but we also need to approve
I believe so.
Yep.
the work to proceed.
The grant is what's time sensitive, though, getting the money.
make a motion to approve the aviation grant agreement between the city of Raton and Department of Transportation for fuel farm safety improvements, project number RTN-24-02.
Very good.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the aviation grant agreement between the City of Raton and New Mexico Department of Transportation for fuel farm safety improvements. Project number RTN 2402. All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item B, deliberate and act on consensus planning professional services for GIS data curation of map design and web map development. Mr. Mestis?
Yes, ma'am. Commission, this is a bid. Is this, I'm sorry, Jaden, this is a
Change order.
change order, I'm sorry.
We have requested additional scope in conjunction with our planning and zoning map update. Through the process of arriving at how we want our future zoning map to look, we have discovered what some other communities are doing, namely Ruidoso in particular. We really like that they have an interactive map on their website, and it makes it very convenient for people to determine what's zoned as what.
Right. That's great. There's a community in Sweden, Melmar, that is world-renowned for having that interactive map and it being very successful. So, I don't know if they're the ones who started it, but they're pretty renowned for it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how simple it makes it for people to, and we need it to be as easy for people as possible to
Exactly.
know what they're buying or what they're interested in or what they have.
Our map looks like a crazy quilt. Patchwork quilts that were made out of scrap fabrics. Any questions, comments, concerns?
So Jaden, this, excuse me, this is not correcting zoning issues we presently have so much as just providing an online outlet
That's
for
correct.
folks to inquire as to what the present zoning is.
Yeah, it makes it possible to zoom in as much as you want on exactly what parcel you're interested in. And there are no subscription fees associated with this. This would be hosted indefinitely, included in this price. The cost is just for the curation of the data and
So
Setting up the map.
there is a monthly maintenance fee?
there is not.
There is not, okay.
If we decide that we want to bring in our own ArcGIS system for whatever reason to advertise businesses or to do other set up other maps for the community, then we could potentially roll this in with that and incorporate it into that, and that would have a subscription fee associated with it, but that's not what we're pursuing at this time.
So how comfortable do you feel like if and when corrections and changes are made, that this could be easily updated?
Yeah, this can very easily be updated once it's been established, when we go in and do a zoning change, for example, it's just a matter of going in and making a small change. We would be relying on consensus planning since they're hosting it, so I'm sure there would be a small fee associated with it, but they can make changes in a matter of minutes.
And is this the total cost in this 1,480 or?
That's correct. For these two scope items that we're adding, the cost of that is $1,480.
Great. well worth that cost, I thought. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve the consensus planning professional services for GIS data concurrent with map design and map development.
Second.
Very good. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consensus planning professional services for GIS data curation and map design. All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. I believe there are no opposed since we had 3 ayes.
Motion carries.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item C, deliberate and act on V. Hill and Associates environmental inspection, survey coordination, additional services request for the historic Kearney School project.
Ma'am Commission, this is a $7,247 total service for V. Hill and Associates to do a hazardous materials survey at the Kearney School. Do you have anything to add, Jane?
This originally wasn't included in the scope of the fee proposal because we were advised that the schools had been abated over the years. However, during their environmental survey, they identified potential asbestos-containing materials and are recommending that we do a full hazardous materials survey.
Sure.
We're hoping to not have to do it, but here we are.
All right.
Has anybody been in contact with the company the school enlisted? The first go around to abate?
I'm not sure whether that, I believe we received the report from the first go-around from the school district. And I don't believe anyone reached out to the firm that performed that, though.
I guess I would kind of question expending $5,000 to have something done twice when maybe a phone call might tell us.
Well, we have access to the report, and probably not a lot has changed since that study was completed. However, the study did not include any lead testing, and so this additional scope would be not only asbestos, but it would also include lead as well.
So this is basically for the building itself, not the ground around it, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
You know, I don't know, I question it only because the public school, those kind of facilities are really watched for that kind of contamination. I have a hard time believing that we're having to do this thing twice, when maybe we haven't done our due diligence in contacting the firm that did it the first time to find out parameters, mapping as to where they took samples, this kind of stuff. I've had some personal dealings with these things, and a lot of times it's one person's opinion of the visual take on something versus another.
Sure.
And so I don't understand why these people have suspicions, and they, based on this, it looks really general. There's no specifics as to, okay, this is a suspect area, this type of thing. And to me, we could use a local person much cheaper and pay to have the samples tested ourselves if we felt like there was doubts.
Do you know of a local person?
Yeah. I gave it to Rick earlier for another project.
I see.
But I mean, I just, having been employed with the schools, they are extremely diligent when they have abatements done
Right.
and whatnot, so I have a really hard time believing that something got missed.
So we have that report.
The preliminary, the
Yeah.
initial report had indicated asbestos adhesive in the VCT floor tiles, yeah, right.
You know, and so, but nobody's called the school to see, was the stuff removed and abated, or was it sealed, or what the treatment was on that?
Well, with asbestos, the concern is, as long as it's not disturbed, it can be safe. And so I believe the decision was made that it was not a health and safety hazard. And so they just left.
So what your take is, the film studio's planning on having this tile pulled up and replaced?
They'll have to mitigate it in one way or another. We haven't got to the point where we're discussing finishes yet. We did have our schematic design review where we've started those types of discussions, but are mostly focused on structural stabilization and major utility updates and starting to build the budget around what that would look like. But
Because if this asbestos is in the adhesive, as long as they didn't take a grinder to it to remove it, it doesn't become airborne.
right.
So I don't know why, if the initial report indicated that's where asbestos was an issue, why were we having somebody else do it again and tell us that, oh, there's asbestos in the glue?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't see a point in why we're testing it twice.
So I have one more question about, but the initial report doesn't talk about lead at all. Is that a concern that it was maybe not tested for lead, or?
That's right. It wasn't tested for lead, and this new proposal includes sampling the paint and
Yeah.
other source
If we
types.
postpone this to our next meeting, is there a possibility of answering some of Mr. Honeyfield's concerns?
Yeah, we only threw it, this isn't necessarily time sensitive, we just took it as an opportunity to put it on the agenda.
Sure.
So if we want to postpone it, and I can share a copy of the original report with you, and then we can revisit
But
it.
The other thing though, Jaden, I'm wondering if it wouldn't behoove the city to call Ben London with the schools and get his take on what the particulars were at the time that building was checked before
Mhm.
and whatnot, and maybe there's a possibility we can work with that report
Mhm.
and whatnot, because I mean, this is only gonna do the testing, it has nothing to do with the abatement
Sure.
at all, so that would be more thousands.
Yeah. I know that, the completed project is, we're kind of antsy for that, but we want to do it right. You're absolutely right.
And I can get clarification on whether the age of the report is the issue. We are doing this through federal funding sources. We have a dedicated, someone assigned to our project from the Environment Department that has to approve our plans and whatnot, so.
Right. Well, because I mean, for example, like the tile work, if the new flooring is installed over the old, then there's no reason for abatement unless the federal funding agents are requiring that all that material be abated.
Right.
So I mean, there's a couple of different avenues here that
Mhm.
either a go or a no-go.
And back when the initial report was completed, perhaps the flooring was adhering nicely, so to speak, but there are areas where the tiles are actually coming loose, and a lot of settlement of the building has occurred since then, so there's been a fair bit that's changed since the last report was done. So,
I would entertain a motion to proceed or postpone, whatever your desire is.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this until some additional research is done into whether this is really necessary or not.
Sure.
But Jane, can you enlighten us in the grants that are involved in this? Is it stipulated that these abatements occur?
I couldn't say for sure whether abatement is absolutely required. I would only be guessing, I guess. So.
Because to me, that's something that we probably need to research. And if this remodel, if the funding agents require it, then there's no point in us retesting. We could just move on to the next step and call in a company to begin the abatement.
Okay.
All right, is that a formal motion then to postpone?
Please.
Until the next meeting?
My question is, do we need a date, or can we postpone until the information that's been asked for is acquired?
How long do you think you need?
We should
Jane?
usually give a date.
2 meetings in March, so.
Right. How many, so what are all of the marching orders, I guess, is, you want a copy of the original report?
If we could.
Does the grant investigate whether the grant requires abatement? Also investigate whether the grant requires a more recent hazardous material survey?
Well, and also if the remodel work will require it, or if it can just be repainted, resealed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
So I guess, do you want 1 week or 3?
I imagine I can get to the bottom of this in the next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we
Is that
can
good
have it
for
on the
you?
12th agenda?
okay.
Oh, that's fine. Excuse me.
It's been moved to postpone this item till the next meeting, which is a week from today,
March 12th.
March 12th. Is there a second? I guess technically I can second that. Yes, I can. All right.
You need a second?
Yeah.
I'll make the second.
Thank you. All those in favor of postponing item C till March 12th meeting, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes to postpone. Thank you very much. Is there anything else, Mr. Nestus, that we need to
Nothing
discuss
else on the
today?
agenda?
All right, then this meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank you very much.